Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this explosive breakdown of one of the most shocking moments in daytime television history. Imagine the glittering world of British entertainment, where icons like Sir Cliff Richard, the Peter Pan of pop with his timeless hits like Living Doll and We Don't Talk Anymore, step onto the set of ITV's beloved Loose Women for what should have been a light-hearted chat about his latest tour and enduring legacy. But oh, how quickly the facade of civility crumbles when fiery panelist Denise Welch, known for her unfiltered opinions on everything from politics to personal scandals, enters the fray. On that fateful afternoon in late September 2025, as the studio lights beamed down on the colorful panel featuring Denise alongside regulars like Colleen Nolan and Janet Street Porter, Cliff Richard arrived with his signature charm, dressed in a crisp white shirt and slacks, ready to reminisce about 6 decades in the spotlight. The audience, a mix of loyal fans waving scarves emblazoned with his face and curious daytime viewers sipping tea at home, buzzed with anticipation. Little did they know that within minutes, this routine segment would erupt into a verbal firestorm, leaving Cliff unceremoniously escorted off the set amid gasps and stunned silence. It all started innocently enough, with host Charlene White introducing Cliff as the eternal bachelor of British music, prompting chuckles from the crowd. Cliff, ever the gentleman at 84 years young, flashed his megawatt smile and launched into tales of his early days with the Shadows, strumming air guitar to mimic those iconic twangy riffs that defined the 1950s rock and roll invasion. The panel nodded appreciatively, with Brenda Edwards gushing over how his clean-cut image had inspired generations of clean-living Brits. But then, as the conversation veered toward modern celebrity culture, Denise Welch leaned forward, her eyes narrowing like a hawk spotting prey. Known for her roles in Coronation Street and Waterloo Road, and her candid battles with depression that she's turned into advocacy gold, Denise has never shied away from controversy. She's clashed with everyone from Piers Morgan to royal commentators, always wielding her Geordie wit like a sharpened blade. On this day, she zeroed in on Cliff's much-publicized legal victory just a few years prior, when he successfully sued the BBC for invading his privacy during a police raid at his home in 2014 over unfounded historical sex abuse allegations. Cliff had spoken movingly about the trauma in his 2020 autobiography, A Head Full of Music, detailing the media frenzy that nearly broke him after a lifetime of squeaky clean fame. But Denise, perhaps drawing from her own experiences with tabloid scrutiny during her marriages and mental health struggles, framed it differently. "Cliff, darling," she began, her voice dripping with that signature mix of affection and audacity, "you've always been the golden boy, untouched by scandal, but let's be real, those accusations, even if baseless, opened a can of worms about how we treat our icons when the shine wears off. Don't you think it's time the industry reckoned with its own skeletons?" The studio fell into a hush, the kind that precedes thunder. Cliff's smile faltered for the first time, his blue eyes clouding over as he adjusted his glasses, a gesture fans know signals discomfort. He responded measuredly at first, praising the justice system that vindicated him but emphasizing the human cost. "Denise, it wasn't just my name dragged through the mud, it was my soul. For a man who's given everything to family entertainment, to be painted as something I'm not. It changes you." The other panelists shifted uneasily. Colleen, ever the mediator, tried to pivot to lighter topics like Cliff's vegan lifestyle and his love for tennis, but Denise wasn't done. She pressed on, her passion rising like steam from a kettle, arguing that public figures like Cliff must endure scrutiny in an era of #Me Too accountability. "I'm not saying you did anything wrong, Cliff, but the conversation has evolved. We can't just brush off the Shadows because you're a national treasure." Viewers at home, tuning in via ITVX or live on ITV, began flooding social media with reactions, from "Leave Cliff alone" to Denise's spot in "Not Time for Truth." As the exchange heated up, Cliff's polite demeanor cracked. He leaned into the microphone, his voice gaining an uncharacteristic edge honed from years of facing adoring crowds rather than adversarial ones. "With respect, Denise, you've built a career on candor, but this feels like ambush journalism dressed as chat. I've faced worse than words at courtrooms, headlines that screamed guilt before trial, but I won't sit here and let my pain be dissected for ratings." The audience murmured, some applauding Cliff's stand, others nodding at Denise's boldness. Charlene White attempted to intervene, her diplomatic smile strained. "Let's keep it civil. Ladies and gents, we're all friends here." But the damage was done. Denise fired back, her cheeks flushing. "Pain? Try being a woman in this industry." Cliff adjudged for every wrinkle, every breakdown. "Your pain came with a knighthood and sold-out arenas. Mine came with pills and pity." It was a gut punch, raw and revealing, slicing through the veneer of celebrity politeness. Cliff stood abruptly, his chair scraping against the polished floor like nails on a chalkboard, declaring, "I've shared enough. Good day to you all." Security hovered nearby as he strode toward the exit, the panel frozen in a tableau of awkwardness. Cameras captured every second, the director scrambling to cut to commercial, but not before the feed caught Denise's parting shot. "Run if you like, but facing it is braver." As the ad break hit, Twitter exploded with hashtags like #Cliff vs Denise and #LooseWomenDrama, amassing over 50,000 posts in the first hour. Fans of Cliff, a demographic skewing older and fiercely protective, decried it as bullying an icon, while younger viewers championed Denise's no BS feminism. News outlets from The Sun to The Guardian scrambled to fact-check, pulling clips from Cliff's past interviews where he'd hinted at lingering bitterness toward the media. By evening, ITV issued a bland statement: "Passionate discussions are the heart of Loose Women. We regret any distress caused, but regret doesn't erase the viral clip racking up millions of views on YouTube, dissected by podcasters and TikTokers alike. This wasn't just a spat, it was a collision of Arasa Cliff, the 1950s survivor clutching his innocence like a shield, versus Denise, the 21st century warrior demanding transparency at any cost." As we delve deeper, we'll unpack the backstories that fueled this fire, starting with Cliff's unassailable rise from post-war Sheffield to stadium-filling superstar. Born Harry Roger Webb in 1940, he was the son of Indian immigrants, raised in a modest home where ration books and rock and roll dreams coexisted. His discovery by producer Jack Good led to The Drifters, later The Shadows, and hits that outsold even the Beatles in the UK at one point. Knighted in 1995, he's sold over 260 million records, yet remained scandal-free until that 2014 raid, broadcast live by helicopter footage that haunted him for years. The acquittal in 2018 brought vindication, but the scars? Inevitable. Denise, meanwhile, born in 1958 in Newcastle, clawed her way from theater to telly, her role as Natalie Horrocks in Corrie cementing her as a household name. But it's her personal narrative via divorces, bipolar diagnosis, and outspoken support for causes like mental health reform that makes her Loose Women's lightning rod. She's friends with Elton John, feuded with Meghan Markle sympathizers, and once stormed off her own show over a Brexit debate. Their worlds overlapped peripherally, both charity event regulars but never collided until now. This altercation isn't isolated, it's symptomatic of a broader cultural rift in UK media, where boomer icons face millennial scrutiny over accountability. As clips recirculated, celebrities weighed in. Strictly's Anton Dubik called it heartbreaking, while Corey's Anthony Cotton backed Denise with "Truth hurts, but silence kills." The fallout tripled through Schedule S. A Cliff cancelled a radio spot, Denise trended globally. But why did it escalate so fast? Perhaps the pre-recorded promos hyped Cliff's exclusive revelations, setting expectations for fluff, not confrontation. Or maybe the panel's recent ratings dip, post-Olympics, pushed producers toward edgier content. Whatever the spark, the blaze illuminated fault lines and fame. When does admiration turn to interrogation? As we continue, let's rewind to the immediate build-up, those tense minutes before the boil-over, where subtle cues foreshadowed the storm. The green room buzzed with pre-show nerves. A Cliff sipping herbal tea, chatting with makeup artists about his Surrey vineyard, while Denise huddled with co-hosts, venting about a recent tabloid hit on her son's band. The 1975, cut to airtime, applause thundering as Cliff entered to a montage of his Wimbledon anthems, smiles all around, until the pivot. Denise's question landed like a rogue wave, and Cliff's retort carried the weight of unspoken grievances. The exchange devolved rapidly, accusations of insensitivity flew, voices rose, and suddenly, Producers' earpieces crackled with urgent directives. "Wrap it," came the order, but too late. Cliff was already halfway to the door. Post-show, crew whispered of a powder keg atmosphere, with some blaming lax segment planning. ITV switchboard lit up with complaints, 70% pro-Cliff, per early reports. Social media warriors mobilized. Cliff's official account posted a serene vineyard photo caption "Peace above all," garnering 100K likes, while Denise Liv tweeted "Sorry not sorry, a conversation needed." Pundits piled on, from BBC Samarajan calling it a masterclass in mishandled moderation to Mail Online's drama desk dubbing Denise the Welch that draws. Yet beneath the spectacle lies profundity. Cliff's ordeal echoed the Jimmy Savile fallout, where innocence presumes guilt in the court of public opinion. Denise, a Savile era survivor herself in spirit, channeled collective rage. Their clash, a microcosm of generational grudge matches. As night fell on that chaotic day, entertainment desks churned out think pieces. Is Loose Women past its sell-by? From the Times, questioning if unscripted heat sustains or scorches. Cliff retreated to his Barbados estate, Princeiders, while Denise hit the pubs with maids, unfazed. The video, now at 10 million views, spawned Bemessa. Cliff's exits tried photoshopped onto epic movie walks. But for fans, it's bittersweet, a reminder that even legends bleed. In the annals of TV tantrums, this ranks within Robinson's BBC exit or Jeremy Clarkson's Farmyard Furor, but uniquely poignant for its elder statesman angle. What does it say about aging in the glare? That grace under fire is noble, but pushback is human. As we segue to the heart of the Mutt era, the verbatim volleys that made jaws drop. Remember, this wasn't scripted soap, it was real-time reckoning. And folks, buckle up, because the words exchanged were nothing short of seismic. Diving straight into the powder keg exchange that lit the fuse, let's transcribe the tension as it unfolded in real time, drawing from the now infamous uncut footage leaked to TMZ within hours. Charlene White, voice steady as a metronome, segues, "Cliff, your career's a masterclass in longevity. Yet any secrets to staying relevant in this TikTok age?" Cliff chuckles, the sound warm like aged whiskey. "Ah, Charlene, it's simple. Sing from the heart, dance like no one's watching, and thank God every day for the Shadows' guitar wizardry." Laughter ripples. Janet Street Porter quips, more like "Thank the Lord for those cheekbones that defy gravity." The vibe is velvet, until Denise, twirling her necklace like a gunslinger's holster, interjects, "But Cliff, relevance isn't just tunes, it's truth. You've dodged scandals like a pro, but that 2014 mess lived on your telly, mugshots splashed everywhere. How's a nation treasure cope when the crown slips?" Cliff's fork in his fruit salad pauses midair, eyes locking on hers. "Dodged?" Denise, "I didn't dodge, I endured 9 months of hell, my home violated, friends turning whispers, the courts cleared me, but the internet, it remembers what suits the narrative." The studio air thickens, audience coughs echoing like distant thunder. Colleen Nolan, sensing squall, jumps in, "Cliff, your autobiography was brave yet raw, even." Fans loved it. But Denise, undeterred, her accent thickening with fervor, "Brave. Try being the woman called hysterical for speaking out. Your story's valid, but it highlights how men like you get the benefit of doubt, while others rot in silence." Me Too didn't start with hashtags, it started with ignored screams. Cliff's jaw sets, a rare steel in his tenor. "Benefit of doubt? I lost my privacy, my PC rated at 73 because someone whispered." You're right, screams matter, but so does presumption of innocence. Or is that outdated in your brave new world? Gasps punctuate the air, a fan in row 3 clutching her program like a lifeline. Brenda Edwards murmurs, "Oh, if that's deep," while Janet fans herself with a script page. Denise leans in, volume climbing, "Outdated, Cliff, innocence is earned, not assumed. Your knighthood shielded you mine, a lifetime of loose woman jabs for daring to feel." The wordplay stings, intentional or not, evoking the show's own title. Cliff rises halfway from his seat, voice booming now, "Earned? I've earned every note of gratitude from millions. But this is trial by panel, and I'm done being the defendant." Charlene's hands gesture like traffic cops. "Whoa, let's bready a Cliff, We adore you, Denise. Passion's your superpower, but momentum's a freight train, Denise retorts. Done. Running from dialogue is the real crime. Face the music. Literally. Cliff, fully standing, tosses his napkin like a gauntlet. Face it, I've faced courts, critics, cancer scares, you name it. But I won't face ambush for entertainment. Ladies, thank you for the hospitality. He turns on heel, stride purposeful toward the wings, security materializing like shadows at dusk. The panel erupts in crosstalk, calling after him. Cliff, wait. A while Denise slumps back, muttering, well, that escalated. Cut to break, but the feed lingers a beat too long, capturing the producer's frantic kill it. Off air, chaos reigns. Cliff in green room, door slammed, agent on phone to lawyers. Denise, handed water, quips to crew, he'll thank me later. Tough love. Social scrolls ignite. #Team Cliff trends with 20k posts decrying ageist attack, countered by #Denise did with defenses of necessary discomfort. YouTube reactors, from Sidemen to smaller drama channels, parse every pause, every raised brow. Piers Morgan tweets, Denise Welch just knighted herself Queen of Clash. A Cliff, call me for backup. Even Ed Sheeran, a Cliff fanboy, posts a subtle respect theog with a salute emoji. The clip's anatomy reveals masterful escalation. Denise's questions layered like onion skins, peeling back Polish to probe pain. Cliff's responses, initially diplomatic, building to a crescendo of controlled fury. Linguists on BBC Radio 4 later analyze it as politeness theory in collapse, where face-saving hedges give way to bald confrontation. For Loose Women, a show born in 1999 as Ladies Who Lunch on Lunch TV, this was peak productive. Ratings spiked 40% post-incident, per Barb data. But at what cost? Cliff's team cited hostile environment in a statement, hinting at potential Ofcom complaints. Denise, on her Instagram Live That Night, 50k viewers tuning in, elaborated, I respect Cliff immensely. His music's my youth, but icons aren't immune to evolution. If that makes me villain, so be it. Her vulnerability disarmed critics, shares doubling overnight. Meanwhile, Cliff's silence spoke volumes. A 24-hour radio blackout, then a measured People Mag exclusive. Disappointed, but not defeated. Conversation is key, confrontation isn't. The dichotomy? Cliff's restraint versus Denise's releasey. Two survival strategies from Lifetimes and Limelight. Broader ripples hit Piers. Gary Barlow dedicates a take that gig to unsung heroes like Cliff, while Lily Allen, Denise's pal via industry circles, tweets support. Tabloids feast, mirrors Cliff's cliffhanger exit. Sons Welch's whiplash. Satirists on Have I Got News For You mock it mercilessly, with Ian Hislop quipping, Loose Women, more like loose cannon. Yet, silver linings emerge. Mental health org's note surged calls post-airing, crediting the rawness for sparking dialogues on trauma. ITV bosses huddle, mulling sensitivity training, while fans petition for a reunion special. As we peel back layers, consider the unseen, pre-show briefs where topics were agreed loosely, per leaks, allowing Denise's curveball, or the post-trade PTSD Cliff alluded to in therapy docs from 2019. Denise's angle, rooted in her 2022 memoir The Unfiltered Denise Welch, railing against male privilege in media. Their clash, not personal, but archetypal. A guardian of tradition versus herald of change. Viewership demographics shift, under 35s up 25%, drawn by drama's dopamine hit. Streaming platforms rush similar content, algorithms loving the outrage cycle. But for purists, it's a stain on Loose Women's legacy of empowerment. Founded by Gina Yashir and crew to amplify women's voices, it now grapples with punching up versus punching down. Ofcom logs 500+ gripes by dawn, mostly bullying, but a vocal minority praises bravery. As night yields to morning headlines, the story metastasizes. International wires pick it up, Variety calling it Brit TV's Succession moment. Cliff golfs quietly, Denise gyms fiercely, both nursing bruises unseen. This verbal joust, clocking under 5 minutes, reshaped narratives. Cliff from untouchable to relatable, Denise from firebrand to philosopher, and us voyeurs to vulnerability, pondering when chat crosses to combat.